Okay, so here is tutorial part 1 of El Noi de la Mare. Before we learn how to play this piece, I want to remind you that this piece is not played in standard tuning. Rather, the low E6 string is tuned down to a D, and so here is a D major chord. You may want to tune before we get started. And this piece begins with a D major chord played with a partial bar. The first finger will press 3 out of the 6 strings and will place this first finger right next to the second fret, pressing on the G, B, and E string. In addition to that, we're going to take the second finger and play a D note. So the D note is played with the second finger, second string, third fret, right next to the fret. And we're going to play this D major chord. On the right hand, we're going to use P, I, M, and A. And here is the first chord. You may want to break it apart as an arpeggio, or you may want to play together as a blocked chord. Sometimes breaking it apart brings out the melody a little bit better. So here is the first chord, a D major, followed by a G note, played with a third finger on the first string, third fret, bass note, 6th string, G, and then an A note played with a fourth finger on the first string, 5th fret. So let's review. D major chord, bass note, 6th string, open string, D note, followed by a G, play with the third finger, and an A played with the fourth finger on the 5th fret. After this, we're going to shift positions from the second position to the 5th position, and we're going to maintain the same bar chord. This time we're only going to press 2 out of the 6 strings, and we're going to press an E and an A note. The first finger thus presses on the second string and the first string, 5th fret. We're also going to play a C sharp with the second finger on the third string, 6th fret. And we're going to use the same open D note in the bass. So, this chord, for those of you who are interested in music theory, it's an A major chord with a D in the bass, so A over D. After we play this A over D chord, we're going to again play the open 6th string D, followed by a B note, and the B note is played with a third finger on the first string, 7th fret, followed by a C sharp note, played with a fourth finger on the first string, 9th fret. In context, this second chord will sound like this. And now we're going to play a B minor chord over D. And the way we'll play this one, let's start with the low D note. It's an open 6th string, followed by a B note, played with the third finger on the 4th string, 9th fret. F sharp note, played with the first finger on the second string, 7th fret, and then a high D note, played with the fourth finger on the first string, 10th fret. Let's try this chord again, B minor over D. In context. So B minor chord, followed by a C sharp, play with the fourth finger on the first string, 9th fret, and then a B note played with the first finger on the first string, 7th fret. Keep in mind that for this B minor chord, we're going to maintain the same bar with the first finger. And now we're going to shift back to the 5th position, and we're going to play an A chord over D. So from the B minor chord, the way we're going to play this chord is like this. Open 6th D string, followed by a C sharp, played with the second finger on the 3rd string, 6th fret, partial bar with the first finger on the 5th fret, pressing the 2nd and the 1st string, and then we're going to play a B note with the 4th finger on the 1st string, 7th fret. Open string again, and then A. We're simply going to lift the 4th finger, and the A is already pressed by the partial bar on the 5th fret. So let's review this phrase. And now we're going to continue this phrase by going to the 2nd position, and we're going to play simply a regular D major chord. Open 4th string, D, A played with the 1st finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, another D played with the 3rd finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and an F sharp played with the 2nd finger on the 1st string, 2nd fret. Followed by another D, open 4th string, and then a G note, played with the 4th finger on the 1st string, 3rd fret, and then an A note, played with the same 4th finger sliding from G to A, played with the 4th finger, 1st string, 5th fret. So. Now we're going to play an A over C sharp chord, an A major chord in its first inversion for those of you who are interested in the music theory part of it. And the way we're going to play this one is like this. We're going to start with a bass note that is a C sharp. The C sharp is played with the 2nd finger on the 5th string, 4th fret, followed by an A note played with the 1st finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, E played with the 3rd finger, 2nd string, 5th fret, and A played with the 4th finger, 1st string, 5th fret. So A over C sharp, followed by another C sharp in the bass. Let's take it in context from the D chord. And now we're going to shift to the 7th position, and we're going to play a B note on the 1st high E string. We're going to play this note with the 1st finger on the 1st string, 7th fret, followed by a C sharp played with the 3rd finger on the 1st string, 9th fret, and then a B minor chord. This is a bar chord, and you could play this chord either with a 3rd bar and 4th, or with a 2nd. I find it a little bit easier to play this bar chord with a 2nd finger on the bass note. So here is the B minor chord. We're going to play a B note on the 6th string with the 2nd finger, and that's on the 9th fret. And the 1st finger will lay as a bar chord on the 7th fret, pressing 3 out of the 6 strings. So here's the chord: B in the bass, D already pressed by the bar chord on the 3rd string, F sharp already pressed by the 1st finger on the 2nd string, and D note played with the 4th finger, 1st string, 10th fret. You may want to try to play the one with the 3rd finger or the 2nd finger. I find it a little bit less stressful on the hand to play it with the 2nd finger. So in context, it should sound like this. And now we're going to play an E major chord, an E7. And this E7 chord is played like this. 1st finger will lay as a bar chord on the 7th fret, pressing 5 out of the 6 strings. And we're going to play an E note on the 5th string, a D already pressed by the first finger on the third string, a G sharp played with the third finger on the second string, 9th fret, and the B note on the first string played already by pressing with a partial bar chord. So we're going to pluck the 5th, 3rd, and 2nd string. Then we're going to play a C sharp. C sharp is played with a 4th finger, 1st string, 9th fret, going back to a B note that's already being pressed by the bar chord. So, and then we're going to move back to the 5th position and we're going to play an A suspended chord and resolve that chord. So A suspended is played like this: open 5th string, A in the bass, followed by a D note played with the 3rd finger on the 3rd string, 7th fret, E played with the 1st finger on the 2nd string, 5th fret, and A played with the 1st finger on the 1st string, 5th fret. And then we're going to play a C sharp and resolve the chord with the 2nd finger on the 3rd string, 6th fret. So okay, so let's take this in context from the D chord. And now we're going to go back to the 2nd position and play a D major 7 chord. It's a lovely, lovely chord. And this D major 7 chord is played like this. Simply lay the 1st finger down as a partial bar chord, pressing 3 out of the 6 strings right next to the 2nd fret. And we're going to play an open 4th D string, A, C sharp, and F sharp. All those notes are being pressed by the 1st finger. Followed by open D, G note, played with the 3rd finger on the 1st string, 3rd fret, and then sliding to an A note with the same 3rd finger. The A note is played on the 1st string, 5th fret. So, from D major 7, and now we're going to play a G major 7 chord. That's just wonderful. Perhaps my favorite chord in the entire piece. And the way we're going to play this chord is the 2nd finger will press a G note on the 6th string, 5th fret. The 1st finger will press a B note on the 3rd string, 4th fret, and we're going to play an F sharp with the 4th finger on the 2nd string, 7th fret, and an A note played with a 3rd finger, 1st string, 5th fret. So let's take it in context. As you shift between these chords, it's really important to keep a guide finger on the high E string. There's your guide finger. Keep that as an anchor now and form the chord around that finger that serves as a security finger. And now I'm going to shift from this A melody note back to a G note, played with the 3rd finger, 1st string, 3rd fret, and then F sharp played with the 2nd finger on the 1st string, 2nd fret. And now an A7 suspended. The way we're going to play this is by playing the open 5th string, A, G note, open 3rd string, a D note played with the 3rd finger, 2nd string, 3rd fret, and open high E note. Followed by the 5th string again, D D note already being pressed, open high E, and we have this A sharp, which is a leading tone to a B minor chord. This chord is played like this. An A sharp played with the first finger on the 5th string, 1st fret, D note played with the 3rd finger, 2nd string, 3rd fret, and F sharp played with the 2nd finger, 1st string, 2nd fret. A sharp again in the bass, 2nd string again, D, and now a beautiful resolution to a B minor chord. And this is another bar chord. You're probably getting pretty tired with these bar chords. If you are getting tired, just take a little bit of a break, rest your hand, and then go back at it. You don't want to push it too hard, but you want to push it hard enough so that you start gaining some endurance. For more insight on how to play bar chords, refer back to the technical package number 2. So let's play this B minor chord, B, D, and F sharp. The first finger is a partial bar finger, pressing 5 out of the 6 strings. We're going to play the lowest of the 5 strings, that B note, played with the first finger, 5th string, 2nd fret, a D note played with the 2nd finger, 2nd string, 3rd fret, and F sharp already pressed by the partial bar on the 1st string. Again, so B minor, followed by B in the bass. Then we're going to play a triad. After this B minor chord, we're going to play 2 notes that are a third apart. And this is an E and G note. The E note is played with the 4th finger on the 2nd string, 5th fret, and the G is played with the 2nd finger, 1st string, 3rd fret. And now we're going to slide this 2 frets over to play an F sharp and A. The F sharp is played with the 4th finger, 2nd string, 7th fret. A is played with the 2nd finger, 1st string, 5th fret. From here we're going to go to an E minor chord. The way we're going to play this chord is by pressing an E note with the 1st finger on the 6th string, 2nd fret. We're going to play an open 3rd string G, open 2nd string B, and then an high A note played with the 4th finger on the 1st string, 5th fret. So in context, so after this E minor chord, we have this transitional chord, and we're going to play an F sharp with the 2nd finger, 6th string, 4th fret, an E played with the 4th finger on the 2nd string, 5th fret, and a G played with the 1st finger on the 1st string, 3rd fret. And this chord is a wonderful chord in the 5th position. It's a G major 7. This chord is played with the 1st finger pressing a G bass note. So the 1st finger plays a G on the 6th string, 5th fret, a D note played with the 3rd finger, 3rd string, 7th fret, and F sharp played with the 4th finger, 2nd string, 7th fret. So in context, and now an A suspended, and we're going to play an open 5th string bass, A, followed by a D note played with a 3rd finger, 3rd string, 7th fret, and E played with the 1st finger, 2nd string, 5th fret. C sharp played with the 2nd finger, 3rd string, 6th fret. F sharp played with the 4th finger, 2nd string, 7th fret. So in context, so A, D, E, C sharp, F sharp, and this is an A7 chord, we're going to pluck the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. We're going to play G with a partial bar chord here. The first finger will press on 4 out of the 6 strings right next to the 5th fret. So G note played on the 4th string, 5th fret, C sharp note played with the 2nd finger, 3rd string, 6th fret, and an E note already pressed by the bar chord on the 2nd string, 5th fret. And we're going to resolve all this to an D suspended chord and then resolve it. A D suspended chord is formed by playing an open low 6th string, a G note played with the 4th finger on the 4th string, 5th fret, an A note played with the 1st finger, 3rd string, 2nd fret, and a D note played with the 2nd finger, 2nd string, 3rd fret. And then resolve this one to an F sharp. And the F sharp is played with the 3rd finger on the 4th string, 4th fret. And that was the first section. Now that section repeats itself. And I would encourage you to do what Segovia did, or to come up with some creative way to repeat that section. It's rather boring when people hear the same section played identically. And so figure out a way to play it differently. What Segovia does, and I think is very effective, is to play the repeat in a Ponticello style. So if the first time you play it through sounds kind of dolce and very mellow, on the repeat perhaps you'll play it in a more Ponticello style that's a little bit brighter. And you could still have a dark sound even in a Ponticello position. It does not have to be very brittle sounding or very teeny. So I encourage you to experiment and try different ways of phrasing the repeat section. I'll see you back for the second part of this tutorial.